I am tearing up.
I just about screamed right now, and I'm not even there.
Now that's inspirational, Natalie. I feel inspired today.
Part two of this.
I could be here for another hour.
And then I was at the top of my class. There were only two of us, and the other guy was in the hospital. So here I am.
And I always go, he winds up homeless on the street. It's my fault.
Yeah, now you sound like my wife.
And you can get off.
I don't know. Call it Google. Or call it Google.
Yeah. Control. Alexa, how does he get across?
Paul, I cut you off earlier. What were you going to say?
What?
Dang it! Don't do that to me, Paul. Don't do that to me, man.
I don't know what got into my head, but I thought this thought, if I'm working year round, I might as well get paid year round.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and subscribe today. Now, it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Talk, our weekly podcast here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Paul Dickey, the Video Instruction Manager and Coordinator of the Apprenticeship Program here at Sweet. And as always, joining me is Gary Salazar, our illustrious director. Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling very illustrious. Thank you very much. Yeah. On a Friday, hey, this is a great way to always end our weeks. I love doing
we're recording on a Friday today. Yes.
Hey, and this is my lucky day. And I mentioned this before, Friday the 13th. And it shows because we have a very special guest with us. Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means it's going to be great, man.
It's going to be great. Okay.
Yeah. And with us is Angela Wilhelm, who's our marketing coordinator, who's been a fantastic resource for us. And Angela, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. I'm really looking forward to our 3-day weekend coming up. So that's pretty exciting, especially after the break we just got for Christmas. But today we have a great guest. We have a longtime friend of mine, a really great employee here and resource here at Idaho State University. We have Chelsie Rauh, the director of the Early College Programs at ISU. Welcome, Chelsie. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Awesome. Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys having me on today. I am a native Pocatellan, born and raised. Graduated from Pocatello High School a few years ago. We won't go, how long that was, but a few years ago. And I actually have 2 degrees from Idaho State University. I pursued a bachelor's of arts in mass communication. So I have a background actually in mass communication, public relations and advertising. And I have my master's in counseling. So I specifically did the school counseling route. So prior to this position, I was actually a school counselor for a few years, working with students on career goals and, doing campus tours. It was actually a specific grant that we worked on called Gear Up. So I was a part of the Gear Up team, if you will, there, in addition to being a school counselor. So we got to do a lot of this higher education stuff, just all encompassing, right, of stuff. And helping students really find their path. And in doing that, I was able to actually find my path and my passion for higher education. So when this position actually came about in 2011, I jumped on it. It's one of those things that you never think that will ever come to fruition, but it did. And I was super excited about it. And here I am 12 years later, almost 12 years later in August, starting my 13th, there's the 13 again, academic year. Yeah. So I'm I love this program and I'm really excited to talk more about it.
That's great. Good intro, Angela. Wow. And Chelsie, I didn't know a lot of that about you. Welcome to Sweet Talk.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy to talk about any of those things. Those are my passions. So
Well, that's what we want to hear about. I mean, I love the fact that you say you like to help students find their path. I'm curious about different ways to help people find their paths. I'm still trying to find mine, but it is so cool that we have you as a resource. Could you tell us a little bit about what early college program is? What does it do for students?
Yeah. So it kind of is, in what the words are, right? So students are starting college early. So they have the opportunity. We actually have 2 programs through our early college program. Actually, we have several of them actually available for students, but we can jump into those later. But so the majority of our students actually take dual credits, what we call dual credits. Universally throughout the United States, actually, they refer to that as concurrent enrollment. So most of our students are taking classes in the high school. In fact, I would say at least 95% of our students, our credit hours are being offered there in the high schools. That's the majority of our partnerships. We do have the opportunity for students to come to campus to take classes, and we love that. They are taking classes from our college provided faculty. So that's the other umbrella, if you will, that falls under early college. But then, of course, we have our CTE classes available through the College of Technology, which we love, and of course through workforce training. So high school students can take classes available through workforce training too. So lots of available opportunities for students specifically. Yeah.
That's neat. So all students in high schools can take advantage of this, whether you're like a freshman in high school or a senior. Can they all do that?
So we do have some eligibility requirements. We do want students to be 16 or have completed half of their high school graduation requirements. So that can look different for a lot of students, right? They do need to meet those 2 criteria. However, we do realize that students, and especially coming out of COVID, a lot of students didn't really have the access to resources that they needed to keep those GPA and grades up, essentially. So we realize that life happens for kids too, right? So we will accept a counselor recommendation or a school official recommendation for a student, basically telling us that they know that they are ready to take college classes and be successful in them. Because our most important thing is that we never want to set students up for failure. And these classes count. Just as high school credit classes, start counting, college classes count, I would say even more important. Specifically, they will follow you wherever you are going. So whether that's, a good grade, right, which is a successful grade, or a negative grade. But that being said, too, students also have a lot of opportunities. So we want to let them know what they do, that they can take, right? And what they may find more passionate, interesting, and which may lead to a career. So
right.
That actually leads me to one of my questions, Chelsie. I mean, these are young people who are decided that they want to go down the college path and they want to enter that early, but have they decided what they want to do, or are they just taking gen eds? Because I would imagine at such a young age, maybe they haven't made a decision about what kind of educational path they want to take, and how do you handle that?
That's so much pressure, Paul, right? It's so much pressure. Don't make me decide right now. No, that's really, we get that, right? We do have those students that are very focused, and they've known for since they were 10, right, what they wanted to do. And we are able to provide those pathways for that student and help with that advising. Whether they're pursuing education at Idaho State University in the future or not, we want to get them on the right path, right? Well, we'll get them the right resource. We may not even have that program of study available for them too, right? So we are proponents of higher education in that regard. But of course, when we have available opportunities at ISU, we want students to know about them. So yeah, we have that, but the majority of our classes, again, I'm going to go back to like the 90s, high 90s of our classes available for students are those general education requirements. Those are the classes we really want students to focus on and essentially, knock those out early, right? Again, going back to the reasoning for general education is to be a well-rounded individual. And we want that to happen for our high school students as well. I had, it was funny, I had a father reach out to me and, and asking about, that this student wasn't necessarily wanting to do anything in Objective 4. And as we may or may not know, Objective 4 is pretty much the broadest category, right? So there's music and dance and art and English, so many humanities available. And it was one of those things I talked to them about, the fact that we may find our passion in just taking one class. We may find the fact that we absolutely hate art. That's not me. I was a art history major, but for students, they're not going to know these things, right? Unless they are jumping into them and just being open and open to the opportunity of finding what they may be passionate about. So
yeah,
that's where cool. we really do encourage just finding that higher that passion essentially and finding what they like to do in exploration of gen eds.
Paul, that was a great question. I'm sorry, Angela, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay. I actually have a question for you, Chelsie. For these students who are taking these dual enrollment courses, does that cost? And if it does cost, is there financing available for the student?
So the great question. Let's talk about money, because that's our biggest concern sometimes, with parents and students. Is it really feasible for me to do this? And a wholeheartedly yes. In fact, the state of Idaho has allocated basically a bank account for every Idaho high school student. It's $4,125 that they have access to take dual credit classes. They can use it for AP classes, college credit bearing classes such as CLEP. In fact, this year they actually started adding, the student can take an ACT test and use that funding as well, simply because the state only pays for SAT testing. So they felt that they wanted to give those students that opportunity to take AC tests if they'd like to as well. And as we know, workforce training is part of that too. Students can use that funding for workforce training. So, the kind of awesome thing about it is that students actually can earn an associate's degree with that amount of money, 60 credits. Actually, they do have to pay for about 3 or 4 credits out of pocket, but where it's only costing $75 a credit, and that's a statewide thing, a student could essentially handle that. And or if there was really a need, we could look into some resources for a student to finish their degree as well. So
yeah, nice resource.
Yeah, isn't it great? It's hard for me to not be a little jealous about that they've got all that money, right? And getting all of those general education requirements done. But yes, what a fantastic opportunity for students to just really take advantage of getting it, not for lack of a better word, out of the way, right? Especially for those students who know what they want to do and to be able to move on to their program of study faster.
Right. So
now,
it was. Go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead. Well, I was just asking. So, obviously, a young student that wants to do this is probably someone who does kind of excel academically in high school. But do you also find that sometimes when they start their college courses, that they find that it's not the same as high school, and they may need additional resources to help them with the struggles that they may have?
So we always tell students the good, the bad, the ugly. That's what I talk about. The good, the bad, the ugly of taking the dual credit. Time management is a huge one. And so when we work with them, they are required to do an orientation with us. And time management is a huge one that we talk about. Professionalism, how to actually approach your professor, and, etiquette when it comes to emails and not using hey or things like that, addressing them, how they want to, or how they've actually told you to address them. So yeah, there are challenges, as with every student, no matter what age they are, and we let them know that that might be something that will come up for them. We try to hold their hand a little bit with making sure that they're not overwhelmed with the credit hours that they're taking, because they're also high school students, and that's their first priority, is to be a high school student and get their high school diploma, essentially. That's our first priority. So we want them to know what resources are available for them. We do contact, especially with our students coming to campus, we contact them weekly even to let them know, hey, how are things going? Did you get this done and this done and this done? Here's an event that you could even attend if you'd like. Here's a movie that's going on. But also don't forget, about tutoring, or, if you are struggling or you do need access to our ADA office, please make sure you're reaching out to them. So we do make sure that they have access to those resources and remind them of them. I would say, in that regard, I've got my school counselor hat on, and I'm making sure that they too have, we're following through with helping them in that regard from our office as well, because we just, when they get registered, they're thrown out into the wild of our higher education, and we count them as such, and they are treated as such, but we do want to make sure that they still know that they have our support.
Yeah, that's very cool. Hey, this is so neat. Ultimately, what is happening is with this, I'm going to try to say this, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. But students who go through the early college program get a chance to take classes early that they don't have to take when they're in college after high school, which will save them time and additional money, because they could graduate a little earlier because they've taken some of these classes while in high school. Is that right?
Yes, that right there, Gary, is the whole nature of our program.
Okay.
Is that we're getting students the opportunity to complete their general education requirements, and that's really our focus. What a true freshman and sophomore in college would take, those beginning introductory courses that they are exploring and trying to find their passion and moving towards a program of study.
Yes.
We want them to have that opportunity earlier, and that's truly what dual credit, or our dual enrollment students coming to campus program is all about.
Yeah, I can see parents will love that if they can get their children into that kind of program and save some money for the family. That would be awesome.
It really truly is. And at that, at $75 a credit, you can't beat that, even if you're paying out of pocket. But the better thing is that the state has taken that on. I will also add, that funding, specifically the Advanced Opportunities Fast Forward funding, the $4,125, that is specific to Idaho public students. But there is funding available for students who are homeschooled or who are a part of a private school.
Yeah, that's great.
So through the Advanced Opportunities website at the state, that's where they can find out more information about those two programs.
Great. So it's the Advanced Opportunities website.
Yep, Advanced Opportunities Idaho. Okay. And then Fast Forward is the name for the $4,125.
Great, excellent. Okay, I want to go back to something, because you said these words a couple of times. You've talked about passion, and I think that's so important for all of us to find that passion. But you've also talked about the pathway. What is a pathway when you think about that for a student? Are they just trying random classes that they wanted, or is there a structured pathway there? Can you explain that to us?
Gary, I love your perspective on this as well. But my thoughts specifically, is that when students are taking general education requirements, they are just kind of randomly trying to find their passion. Okay. That's my understanding. A pathway more along the lines is where what we have set up with our CTE classes. To my understanding, to my knowledge, the students are taking those linear classes, one building off of the other, that leads essentially to a program of study completion, whether that be a certificate or associate's degree, however that looks. Yeah, but I'm curious on your perspective of that too.
Yeah. So that's helpful for me. So if somebody has a passion for like wrenching, fixing cars and all, they could go into an automotive program, and the pathway there is the different classes they would take to get either a certificate or an associate's degree. But that passion is what they want to do. And so as they explore passion within some of those general education classes, they're developing and seeing, hey, I can take this when I get to become a freshman there at the university. I understand that better. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like your perspective on that.
So Chelsea,
go ahead, Paul.
So Chelsea, I just want to know, do you have a success story that stands out in your mind that, a student that might have enrolled and then went on to really excel within the university life?
Here's the thing, Paul, we honestly sometimes lose track of them after they've graduated. But I will tell you that we did have a student who came from some really difficult background. They weren't necessarily given all of the opportunities in life, even up to high school. And that student ended up completing with an associate's degree. And, it's just times like that. And, even I'm just going to, one of my favorite pieces of higher education in general is attending commencement and helping out with commencement. And to me, that's the reward, right? For this whole job that we do, is when I've got students that I know and I see, which is a rarity because we work with the high school students, but we do have students earning their associate's degrees. And when they're walking, when I see them with their cap and gown on, that right there, that's just the best. That's and excellent. For me, but going back to the student, that was a huge highlight of being able to take that student from a lack of confidence, just academically, no matter what, to the point where they actually completed their associate's degree. And that's not an easy feat. That's 60 credits. To get that done in high school, there's not many students that can actually do that, right? So true. And more importantly, that we have advising available for those students. So we do advise them, making sure that they are on track and working towards completing that degree that they really want to obtain. So.
Yeah, that's so well said. And I agree with you completely. When I had the chance to run a couple ceremonies, when you get those students there, and the family's all there, what an exciting time that is, and what a great moment of success. Hey, we're really closing in on the end of our time here, Chelsie. Sorry, I got a bunch of other questions yet, but what we want to do is give you an opportunity to maybe put some information out. If somebody wanted to reach out and say, hey, where do I learn about this? Who do I talk to? Is there a number or a place that you would like them to go to start that conversation?
Yeah. So again, we love meeting with students, no matter what their pursuit is, whether that just be to take, 2 or 3 classes and, to complete their high school graduation, or they're pursuing an associate's degree, or they know the program of study they want to take and they know exactly where they want to go. We want to meet with them. So I highly encourage students to reach out to us through our ACP email. And that's ECP, like Early College Program, at ISU.edu. And just introduce yourself, let us know what you're interested in, any questions that you have, and we'll get you in contact with one of our advisors. And they will set up a time for you to either come to meet us in person, or we can Zoom, no matter where you're at. Of course, we love our Zooming. Let's see. And then we have so much information on our website as well. And I would even say, if there's any instructors or potential teachers out there that are interested in teaching dual credits on our website. So everything from, registering for classes to, the process is on our website. Specifically. So, and that is isu.edu/ECP, like Early College Program.
Excellent.
ECP.
Excellent. Super job. A lot of great information. Hey, Angela, what a great friend you have here. And she's a director of a fantastic program here at the university.
I'll tell you, I love this program so much. I wish that it were around. I wish that it was around when I was in high school. Because I can tell you I've had interns that went through Chelsea's program and they had their associate's degree coming into the university. It's a fantastic program.
Yeah. Super deal. Hey, we're at the end of our time, Chelsie. It's just incredible how quickly we zoom through some of these things, but we need to go ahead and, as Paul likes to say, wrap it up.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah. So Angela and Paul, what do you say? Should we wrap it up? I had to get that in twice.
Man. Do you see what I have to deal with, Chelsie? So yes, hey, Chelsie, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. Very informative. I was kind of aware of the program, but I didn't know the details. And I really appreciate you taking the time to explain this to us.
Happy to do it. Have me back on.
Excellent. Yes. Anytime, maybe a different subject.
There you go.
So, Angie, thank you as always. Gary, you know, I can't do this without you, man.
Yes, you can. You're awesome. There you go. Super job.
So if anyone wants to contact us, you can email us at ISU cetrain@isu.edu. You can visit our website to check out what kind of classes that we have at cetrain.isu.edu. And you can give us a call for that information as well at 208-282-3372. And if you like this podcast, please like, share, spread the word. You know, we always like to share this information as much as we can. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. And Gary, your line, man.
Hey, thanks everybody. You all be safe out there.